Hello, class. This is the story of Barbie and Ken. Barbie was introduced on March 9th, 1959, at the New York International Toy Fair by Ruth Handler and her husband Elliot. They fashioned the doll, after the Buildy Lily doll that you see on the right, and named her after her daughter Barbara. Barbie's body type was changed in the mid 1960s to emulate Twiggy, a top model from the era, which you see on the left. In addition to changing the body type, Barbie was also made to be more flexible, so she had more movement in her neck, arms, and legs. The Twiggy version was a message to little girls to strive towards perfection. Twiggy was the first celebrity to have a Barbie in their likeness. Also during this era, there was a slumber party Barbie that came with a book on how to lose weight. While the weight loss campaign was short-lived, the idea of perfectionism continued. Also, I'd like to share with you a few of Barbie's firsts. Barbie was the first full-grown doll that was not a baby doll. Barbie was the first toy advertised directly to kids, and the commercials for Barbie aired during the last season of the Mickey Mouse Club. Barbie and Ken. 2 years after the introduction of Barbie Roberts began dating Ken Carson. Their stories of family, friends, love, and life began taking shape. Okay, now I'm going to share with you a bit of trivia about Barbie and Ken. What was the name of Barbie's pink? That is Pantone PMS 219. Barbie is sold in how many countries? 150. Where is Barbie manufactured? She's manufactured in China, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Why did Saudi Arabia stop selling Barbie in 1995? Barbie's style violated the Islamic dress code. What city and state is Barbie from? That is Willows, Wisconsin. And the last prompt for this first trivia board is, what was the cost of the first Barbie? Now think back, she was introduced in 1959. And in 2014, along with her popularity, Playline Barbies cost quite a bit. So originally, Barbie was sold for $3. Today, the average cost of Playline Barbies, those are Barbies that kids would play with, is about $30. Barbie is largely a collector's item for adults, more than it is, or even more than it is, a Playline Barbie for kids. Okay, moving to the second trivia board. What is the name of the highest selling Barbie? Totally Hair. It was introduced in 1992, and over 10 million of those Barbies were sold. What is the name of Barbie's Instagram page? If you're interested, that is Barbie. What country has a Barbie clinic? That would be Iraq. Barbie has over X number of, or has had over X number of careers. That would be over 200. Other than Skipper, who was introduced in 1964, what are the names of Barbie's siblings? That would be Tootie and Todd, who were introduced in 1965, Stacy, 1990, Kelly, 1994, and her youngest sister, I'm sorry, there would be Chrissy. She was introduced in 1998, and her youngest sister, Chelsea, in 2011. All right, so let's do a little recap of Barbie's history. Barbie was introduced again on March 9th, 1955, and the body type was modified to be less curvy and more movable. Barbie became a big sister also during this time with the debut of her sister Skipper. And also, this was a bit of a controversial time with the Slumber Party Barbie uh, in 1965. All right. From the 70s to the 80s, Barbie attends the University of Michigan. And also, more modifications were made to Barbie. Malibu Barbie, that was introduced in 1971, had a new face mold. So Barbie, prior to 1970, looked a bit different than she looked post that time. In the 1980s to 1990, Barbie and the Rockers was introduced. That was a band that was created by her and Ken. Dolls of color were available for sale. We'll talk more about that in a moment. And also the PlayStation Barbie was introduced in the 1990s. From the 1990s to 2000, one of the biggest controversies in the Barbie world was that the sales stopped in a country because of the type of clothing and imagery that's associated with Barbie. But there was also many real life Barbies and Kens that that surfaced. Much more of an influx during that time. Okay, also from the 2000s to 2010, there was a specific collector's line that was created in 2001 called the Silkstone Collection. But also what was really big with Barbie was her relationship with Ken, her rebound relationship, as well as reuniting with Ken. So her and Ken got together a couple of years after her introduction, and they stayed together for over 40 years and then broke up on February 14th, 2004. And then she had a rebound relationship with a beautiful Australian surfer doll named Blaine Gordon. And they stayed together from 2004 to 2006. And then Barbie and Ken reunited February 14th, 2011. Okay, and then lastly, what's been going on in the last decade or so around Barbie is her being more socially conscious. She has been more inclusive with LGBTQI plus. She also has included dolls with developmental disabilities, as well as some dolls with positive body image, which I also will show to you in the coming slides. Okay, this would be the first question that's going to be on the quiz that you're going to take. The quiz is located in Canvas, just below this presentation. Okay, so the first question reads, it's really just a quote that I want you to give a reaction to. It's, I am a doll, and yet I've always caused a bit of stir, starting with my debut as a teenage fashion model in a swimsuit in 1959. Barbie dolls aren't the problem. Models choosing to pose in bikinis aren't the problem. The problem is the assumption that women of any age should only be a part of who they are to succeed. I'd like 3 to 5 sentences response to that, and that is worth 10 points. All right, now I'm going to show you some of what I was sharing with you on the timeline. There is LGBTQI plus doll that was introduced in 2017. There's also Laverne Cox as the first transgender Barbie. Laverne Cox is an M to F transition. You also have Wheelchair Barbie that was introduced in 2021, the same year as the Laverne Cox Barbie. And then lastly, we have a Down syndrome Barbie that was introduced in 2023. Okay. Now, diversity. So dolls of color were introduced in response to the equal rights movement. Barbie's best friend, Christy, was introduced in 1967, but neither Chrissy or this first Barbie that you see here, Teresa, who's the first Hispanic Barbie, weren't available to purchase until the 80s. Okay. I also have here represented a beautiful Black American Barbie. Here is representation from India and also from Asia. Yeah, that's all I will share about that one. Okay, as far as positive body image, we have a plus size Barbie that was introduced in 2014, and also Ken dolls with natural body shapes that were introduced the same year, 2014. Okay. And here is your second question related to the Barbies that I just showed you. According to Ruth Handler, Barbie is supposed to continue adapting and evolving forever. What message and qualities would be prioritized if you created a toy that adjusts to your child's growth? I'll be looking for a 3 to 5 sentence response to that question. Okay, question number 4. Did Barbie accurately address societal problems through the dolls or the doll lines or the movie? If not, how should those issues have been handled? I'm asking for a 3 to 5 sentence response to that question. Okay. What do you think of Barbie and Ken's dynamics? How can patriarchs hold their own in a monarch-empowered world without competing? So what I mean by that simply is how can men hold their own in a woman-empowered world without feeling threatened by that and responding by competing against it? Okay. I'm looking for a 3 to 5 sentence response on the quiz to that question. And the last question, or question number 5, this also relates to the movie. In the movie, the concept of Barbie dies and becomes new. Describe Barbie's symbolic death. They talk about it in one section of the movie, and I'd like you to refer to that in your response. I'm looking for a 3 to 5 sentence comment, reaction, response to that question. All right. And this is the end of the presentation. I hope you got information about Barbie that you may not have wanted to know, but now you know.